Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at what's going on in our city, in our state, and in our country, just to find out how we can connect with the news. And yesterday was unfortunately a very chaotic day. It was a bad day for Puerto Vallarta. Many of us didn't even notice how bad things were for our city yesterday because we were probably minding our own business in our little communities, our little networks. But we are going to go into the chaos that ensued yesterday after a few dozen people demonstrated across from the verification center protesting against the mandatory vehicle verification. It is not pretty. It is not over. Thank goodness there was no violence, but we will unpack everything that went on yesterday while we thought it was a beautiful sunny day here in Puerto Vallarta. But before we go there, I'd like to welcome everyone to our broadcast as usual. It is a pleasure to see you here, particularly those of you that are watching live for the first time. We want to welcome you aboard. Please feel free to write the comment new and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If you're watching later on in the day on YouTube, we so much appreciate the fact that you do that, and we appreciate the fact that you subscribe to the channel. It is always great for us. So, last but not least, if you have something really important that you wish to share with everybody, a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment will be of great help. Let's go. Okay, so yesterday, we don't know if local government underestimated the impact of the demonstration, or whether it was a case of generalized indifference towards demonstrations. A lot of times people will go out and just raise some signs and whatnot, and we tend to show some disdain towards this kind of behavior. But City Hall could not have at all anticipated all the chaos that ensued after a small number of locals decided to demonstrate against mandatory vehicle verification yesterday, which resulted in thousands of workers that couldn't get to work, tourists that lost their flights because they couldn't get to the airport. So we are going to unpack the entire incident here today. Starting with several weeks ago when a call was made for people to gather yesterday in front of the verification center located across from the 41st military zone. Perhaps by coincidence, it's many folks that live in the northern area of the city, along with many rural communities located thereabouts, that have become increasingly unhappy at this issue of vehicular verification. There is no evidence that yesterday the state government could have sensed the accumulation of this dissatisfaction, of this hatred, not to mention the sense of increasing number of people feeling ignored by Governor Alfaro. So yesterday's gathering began at 9 a.m. outside of the verification center as announced, and several dozen locals gathered with signs showing disapproval. It is quite possible that while this was happening, the local government didn't feel the disturbance as the demands were clearly made at the state government. There were no people holding signs mentioning Puerto Vallarta Mayor Luis Michel, who figured, well, this is a state problem. It's none of our business. So Mayor Luis Michel simply went on with his agenda for the day. So while the mayor was meeting with his cabinet, and sometime around 10 a.m. yesterday morning, somebody at the rally raised the voice of, let's block the main road. And in a matter of minutes, the northbound lanes along Medina Asensio, our main throughway, were blocked. And then a few minutes later, they jumped over to the southbound lanes. So by the time we started Coffee and Headlines yesterday, there was no access through the main road in and out of the city. At this point, Mayor Luis Michel was invited to go to the rally to dialogue with the demonstrators, but again, and quite possibly underestimating the impact of the movement, the mayor sent someone on his behalf and politely, these representatives politely asked for the blocking of our main access road to be removed. The rejection was unanimous, and protesters gave Mayor Michel 1 hour to show up. Otherwise, they would send a contingency to block the southern access to the city by Mismaloya, essentially closing down all mobility going in or out of the city on both ends. So at this point, Mayor Michel had no choice but to rush over to the eye of the hurricane. And meanwhile, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, things were so bad that tourists had no choice but to get off their vehicles and walk to the airport. This is tourists of all ages schlepping their luggage. We see a man here holding crutches as well. And while this was happening on Medina Asensio, of course, the block also collapsed all other alternate routes in and out of the city. Medina Buses, the company that provides urban transportation between Puerto Vallarta and Bahía de Banderas, also had absolutely no choice but to shut down their operations as the buses could not even get in or out of the city. By the time Mayor Michel arrived at the demonstration, he had no choice but to shut down the verification center to prevent further damage to the city, and despite that there are no legal fundaments for him to shut down the verification center. Let me emphasize here, just because I want to make sure that we're clear, there were no violent incidents yesterday. When I say the damage to the city, it is the thousands of people that couldn't get to work, the tourists that were stranded, all those photographs of tourists walking on the main road. That can't be good for our city. And not to mention the reactions of these tourists who clearly had no idea what was going on. So this is very damaging, perhaps not in the short run, but definitely in the long road as far as the public image of the so-called happiest, friendliest city in the world is concerned. At some point in the afternoon, while this was happening, the state government, clearly unaware of the impact of the incident, sent statements out to the effect that there is no turning back as far as mandatory verification in Puerto Vallarta is concerned. So we can expect that the verification will return, the verification center will reopen. And you're probably wondering, where was Governor Alfaro in the middle of all this? Well, as it turns out, Governor Alfaro expressed some discomfort during the day yesterday, and just to keep things safe, he was sent to the hospital for some tests. He remained there for a few hours, then he was released to meet with Mexico's Chancellor Marcelo Ebrard at Casa Jalisco, which is the city hall of Guadalajara. How is this adventure going to end? I have no idea. But what happened yesterday was absolutely unprecedented. It totally blew any kind of expectations that local or state authorities could have had as far as the impact of a few people demonstrating. We should be thankful that there was no violence, that no one was hurt. But again, the power of these demonstrations cannot be underestimated, and we will continue to monitor this issue as it is a very hot topic right now, and I'm sure more things will unfold. I just read a comment saying that the demonstration is expected to come back today. I don't have any official confirmation, but if you were completely unaware of the fact that this was going on yesterday, just be thankful that in your neighborhood, in your community, you didn't have to be aware of it. But at the same time, be aware of these things happening in our city just because you choose to be connected, and that's what we're here for. In other news, meanwhile, all this is happening, local authorities are expecting local hotels to be 90% full during this coming Semana Santa vacation period, which has officially or unofficially started as of this weekend. And this, of course, is going to be a boom for our city's economy. But all demonstrations aside, authorities are also predicting that traffic this coming week will be absolutely insane. So if you have nowhere to go, if you have nowhere to be grateful if you can walk from one place to another. Be grateful that you can stay home or in your neck of the woods. And again, consider that this period of Semana Santa is likely to be more chaotic than last year or the year before for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's an increasing number of people that can travel after the pandemic and want to come here for vacation. Number two, it is expected that over 40% of tourists will arrive by land, which of course means more specifically for those that are coming from the north end of the city, that they will have two choices to arrive, one through the toll-free highway, the other one through the new toll road, but both roads funnel together just north of Puerto Vallarta, so it is going to be quite a colorful picture. My recommendation has been and continues to be stay put, pack your pantry, go shopping this weekend, and just be grateful that our city is favored by so many tourists during this week and make room for them. Make room for them while they are here and you enjoy the peace and quiet, hopefully, of your own home. It's the perfect temperature outside, but you'll probably spend all day inside stalking people on Facebook, says Snarky Weather. Well, I don't know about stalking people on Facebook, but again, given the state of affairs in Puerto Vallarta and given the time of year, I'm grateful that in the next few days, the only places I have to go to, I can reach by foot, and the only critical missions that I have take place in my own home, and I'll get into that in a bit. First, it is 26 degrees right now. Humidity is low at 47%. We are enjoying 78 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and our weather forecast for today says that it's going to be a mostly cloudy day during the day with a high of 28 and a low of 17. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be a partly cloudy day with a high of 29 and a low of 18. And we will begin the work week with a mostly cloudy day again, with a high of 28 and a low of 18. This weekend is going to be a little crazy for me because the internet doctor, we have a member of the cluster, Daniel, who knows everything about doing live broadcasts on internet. He's going to come over to the house on Monday to give me a little bit of internet assessment and figure out if we can improve the quality of the signal that we have here in the house for Coffee and Headlines. But of course, this means that I need to clean the living hell out of my apartment to make it visitor worthy. So I expect I will spend today and tomorrow doing a lot of cleaning. But I am grateful to Daniel, to Dan House, who is a regular here at Coffee and Headlines, for all the assistance he's provided me. He helped me videotape the get-together with the Raices group, and we have yet to edit that footage. He also donated a couple of microphones, which I'm very grateful for. And that's pretty much what we have. I want to, before we go any further, I want to remind you of this event at La Bodega de Tony tonight. This is an opening ceremony, and if you want to check it out, this should be fun from 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening. Yesterday was, of course, the Taco Day. We didn't even talk about it, but yesterday was Taco Day. And of course, the Taco Fair is coming up right in the heart of Semana Santa, a week from today. Free tacos, but at a price, I suppose, because I can anticipate that there will be a lot of people there. And of course, I want to remind you that I'm going to be busy all this weekend and this coming week preparing for my next music appreciation get-together. What is a musical anyway? We're going to take a look at the inception of the musical. We're going to take a look at what it takes to write one, what it takes to mount and produce one, and certain things that we can be looking at when we're enjoying a musical presentation, so that we can be better connected with the context of the type of music that is featured in them. And that is pretty much what we have. And before we start our Chit Chat section, I want to wish our dear friend Gina Hendricks a happy birthday. It is Gina's birthday today. She's going to have a shindig tomorrow night at Whiskey Kitchen, and everybody is invited to attend, as far as I know. So this was our content for the day. Let me see what we have in terms of comments from you. Lots of good mornings. Gary is enjoying an extra long weekend in beautiful Guadalajara. I say stay there. Stay for the whole week, Gary, and enjoy it for us. Oh my goodness. Dan and Kathy wheelchaired all the way over to Ascalde yesterday and had a great meal there. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I am pleasantly surprised to hear that you guys went, considering the fact that it's on a second story. So kudos to Kathy for pushing through one flight of stairs without the wheelchair. Bravo. And I hope you enjoy the offerings. Let's see what else we have. I also ran into Brian and his partner yesterday. They are now officially my next door neighbors, or 1 block away neighbors. Welcome to the neighborhood. Let's see. This was the comment that I read. This came from Diana. Diane, I understand the protest is going on today as well. Again, I have not seen any confirmation from media outlets, but again, just in case, I would stay away from the northern side of the city if you can. Let's see. Dale read that they opened the verification center again today, and road closures and protests starting again. Well, you see, that's the complicated thing. Once they do it, once they protest and they can get something done, of course they're bound to protest again. So it's going to continue to be ugly, and only um, God knows what is going to be the final outcome here. But we'll keep you posted, of course. Hmm. Oh, this is sad. My friend was almost fired from his job yesterday because he was late due to the protest. His boss was not in the least bit understanding that it was not his fault. Thankfully, he was not termed. That is so sad to read, Gary. But for better or worse, I'm not surprised that these things happen. Um, but what a mess! What a mess! I'm glad that your friend was not terminated. Let's see what else we have. Kelly says, brutal. Glad I didn't have to go anywhere yesterday. I totally hear you. The furthest I went yesterday was to the ATM, and that was just walking over to Medina Asensio at, in the hotel zone where nothing was going on as far as the demonstration is concerned. There was a picture posted of the governor getting an MRI yesterday. Again, I hope it's nothing serious. We like our governor, and I hope he is okay. Let's see. Doody-doody-doo. Oh, thank you for that, Barbara. Really enjoyed dinner with friends last night at Olive. Thanks for the recommendation. Yes, I haven't had a chance to go. I know that this is a new Mediterranean food restaurant located right across the street of El Jardín de la Versalles. Again, I haven't checked it, but I think it's good based on what I've been reading. I'll be happy to let you know how I feel about the place when I get a chance to go and see it. I would be interested in your opinion / interpretation of musicals taken from the stage to the big screen. We are going to touch base on that, Sean. We are going to touch base on that because when we think about musicals, we tend to think about what's going on Broadway. But there are musicals made for TV. There are live musicals performed on TV. There are musicals that have been turned into movies. And, during the pandemic, a lot of musical activity took place online. So the musical has wings and could fly in all kinds of directions in the years to come. Let's see. Sherry says Whiskey Kitchen is a fabulous restaurant. We know that, and we are looking forward to tomorrow night. Oh, how wonderful. Brian reports on his first sleep as a neighbor. It was so quiet, and we woke up to birds singing with no other noise. That is wonderful. Doody-doody-doo. Let's see. Mijal is heading to the Saturday Libramiento Market for the first time in a long time. Fresh veggie shopping time. Keep your eyes open for the hat vendor, Mijal, because we always can use a good hat at a good deal. Again, I'm going to spend most of the day today and tomorrow cleaning the house. It is messy here. You wouldn't see it because it's blurry back there, but there's a lot of dust everywhere. But I need the place to look presentable for Daniel. So this brings us to the end of another week. Again, if you don't have to get on your car to go places, just be grateful for that. Just be grateful for nurturing the economy of your own neighborhood, and hopefully this whole issue about the verification center will be resolved and once and for all. I hope the rest of your weekend is relaxing, and I hope that I will get to see you again on Monday for more coffee and headlines. Have a great one, and I'll see you again soon.